Now check, would you?
Refresh it, close out of it. We're live.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. There we go. I can see it now. See? This is the YouTube broadcast.
All right.
Okay.
So here we are.
First ever live stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but it looks like we got right at 7 o'clock.
Absolutely.
That is pretty lucky of me to get
Zach,
that.
as we're starting this, is that Calvin that you're wearing?
It is indeed. Number 81, his original jersey that he wore for the Lions. I have the jersey he never actually wore, but that's the OG. What are you wearing? It looks like a Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech.
Oh, and it's got this.
I've got one. It's one of about 4 Patrick Mahomes jerseys I've got. I've got a Texas Tech Mahomes, a 2018 Pro Bowl Mahomes. I've got a black Patrick Mahomes jersey, and then I have just a regular red Chiefs Mahomes. No patch or anything. And that's
Your
just
jersey,
the Mahomes Chiefs jersey.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to some point show everybody this extensive jersey collection because there's
100%.
a lot.
Every year when the Chiefs, the last 3 years, when the Chiefs have won the AFC Championship, I've worn a different Chiefs jersey to school every single day the week leading up to the Super Bowl. And on the Monday, students are like, oh, cool, like a Mahomes jersey, or oh, like that's a nice jersey that you've got. Tuesday, it's like, okay, that's another jersey. By the time Wednesday hits, everyone has asked, how many jerseys do you have? And that's when I got to tell them that I've got, I think, 10 Chiefs jerseys, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not quite that many, but I've got a decent number of Chiefs jerseys. And that's just the Chiefs jerseys. I've got a couple other NFL ones, a couple other baseball and basketball ones too.
We're getting our first chats in, Tyler.
All right.
If you can see who they are.
Hey, we appreciate the love. We're super excited for this.
So I don't know. You can't see my screen, Tyler, but just so you're aware, I have how many concurrent viewers we have, and I can see our live chat within my OBS kind of dashboard I've got going on. It's a pretty nasty setup. I'll have to show it to you. But I don't know if you just saw the breaking NFL news that we get to break as of 10 minutes ago. Did you see this?
I did not see it.
It has to do with my team.
The Lions breaking news. What's going down in Detroit?
The Lions have just acquired the highest paid safety in NFL history. Kirby Joseph signs a 4-year, $86 million extension to make him the single highest paid safety in NFL history.
Wow.
Yeah, as of like 10 minutes ago. So that's breaking.
Right.
That's breaking now.
Breaking news on That's DPI podcast.
Right? What are your thoughts on that move as a not Lions fan?
Before I break into the number, tell me about Kirby Joseph.
So Kirby Joseph, drafted by the Lions, went to Illinois. He's a Fighting Illini. He was really raw out of school, but last year he was a first-team All-Pro and led the NFL with 9 interceptions and has at least 4 interceptions in every season prior.
So he's a couple years. So this is him just getting off his rookie contract.
Yes, this is his first NFL contract. Here, I'll pull him up for some more context for you.
Yeah. Pull him up. Kirby Joseph just signed a multi-year extension with the Lions.
Oh yeah. So this is him. He was drafted 22 in the 3rd round, so not too bad for a 3rd round selection. Yeah, he played 1,100 snaps.
He did great last year.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, a 90 PFF grade?
That is 90 coverage grade, one of the highest in the league, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, he had 9 interceptions. He had 4 in each of his last 2 seasons. So he has 17 career interceptions in 3 years, which is pretty impressive. I think it's the most in the league in the last 3 years. So it makes a lot of sense to bring him in. I wonder if there's a way I
Yeah,
can like
and what was the years in the contract? You said 4 years, 80 million?
86, I believe, up to 86. So
86 million, up to 86. So probably signing 20 a year with incentives then is my guess.
yeah, we'll have to see what the
20 a year, 20 per year with
yeah.
incentives.
If you can see, he was the number 1 ranked safety in all of football last season.
Wow.
With he got a lot better this year. I mean, 2023 he had a 56 coverage grade, and now he's got a 90. So,
Wow.
and his run defense grade is
Honestly,
up
I
there
don't
too.
hate that move for you guys. I don't hate that move for you guys. It might technically be overpaying, but you're definitely investing in a young guy. I mean, I think you can kind of lock down Kirby Joseph as he is your franchise defensive player right next to Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, and he's going to get a ludicrous contract. But
Oh, absolutely.
regardless, why is our bit rate so low? I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, well, we're not using that. I wonder if there's a way to edit that. Our bit rate is very
Maybe.
low. I want to see if it looks bad on my screen here.
And I can pull up what it looks like on my phone.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Just see like what it looks like from the viewer's perspective.
Yeah. See if it looks bad on my screen here.
So it looks similar to kind of our videos. You got us in the corner, and then I can see your screen.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
But we're gonna
I solid. I mean, it's our first video. It's our first live episode.
yeah, and I don't truly expect anybody any more than like 5 concurrent viewers. We would have done this
Yeah,
anyway. We're just doing this for everyone, for posterity. It will be public record forever who Tyler thought the Chiefs were going to select in all 7th round of the draft. And how else am I going to make fun of you when they don't select all those players? If we don't record it.
right. What's
And
going to
vice
happen is
versa.
whoever you and I end up picking tonight for the first round of our teams is going to be who some bum team selects in like the 3rd round. And
No, for real. We just don't. Maybe we've over researched. That's something that I would definitely fall into if I was an NFL GM. I would like over research. I would overthink the pick, and then I would select a bust. It's not a job that I would want.
I saw a mock draft on Twitter earlier this week. And so in our last episode, I had the Chiefs going with Norman Lott out of Tennessee. And later on in the week, I think it was yesterday after we posted it, I saw on Twitter that some people were mocking us to take Norman Lott in the 3rd round.
I saw that one on Twitter.
So we'll see how it goes,
Brutal. I did see that.
Yeah. So tonight we're selecting every single team in the 1st round and then our own teams in all 7 rounds. Which the fact that we have the ability to predict a player to go to every single team is very rare. It's very rare for every single team to have a 1st round draft pick.
Yeah, this is I was
there have been
almost
no trades yet. The draft is tomorrow. There's been no trades yet within the 1st round.
I was almost certain that we would see someone give up their 1st round pick, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm genuinely shocked.
I saw a rumor that there is a trade in place.
I saw this rumor too.
To move to number 5 with Jacksonville, pending that Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are both off the board.
Yeah, I think that I think there will be trades, a lot of trades, but I don't think they're going to happen until draft night. This will be the closest draft to the movie Draft Day starring Kevin Costner that there is, in my opinion, because every team has a first round pick. There's going to be tons of drama. There's a running back projected to go top 5. It's ridiculous stuff, or maybe top 6.
Yeah.
Absurd. And,
And also, like the movie Draft Day, the Browns do have a top 2 pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't draw it up any better, honestly, if you want to recreate Kevin Costner's cult classic. At this point, it's a cult classic. It's been around for a while.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're gonna get started with the
today
mocks at around 7:15. You keep going.
Very good. I saw a tweet just today that said that people are projecting Shador Sanders to fall in the draft because people didn't go to his birthday party this year.
I showed that to Andrea, and she laughed a lot. She thought it was super funny. Oh, we just got a chat.
We'll start the draft. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we just got a chat. Andrea is popping in the chat going, Bo Callahan hate club. Andrea was responsible. She threw all of the invitations to Bo Callahan's birthday party in the garbage. Prevented anybody from joining that birthday party.
Andrea would be someone that does that too. But so you mentioned that that you expect a lot of trades tomorrow night. Do you think Jacksonville's the first trade?
Oh yeah, Jacksonville's going to trade back because along with those same rumors that you've heard about Chicago, I've heard the same about Jacksonville not being super high on Mason Graham. So maybe they trade back, get a bunch of material, select somebody different. I've heard that Graham is falling rapidly here in the 11th hour of the draft.
Interesting.
But I still probably am going to mock him to Jacksonville just because I have no idea who else they could select.
Well, and the other thing, too, that Jacksonville can also do is they can leverage these rumors with Las Vegas. They can call Las Vegas, who has the 6th pick right behind them, and say, hey, listen, the Bears want to trade up. I imagine they're going for Genty.
They have to be.
Let's make a trade so you can get him.
Leaping
and
the
now
Raiders.
All of a sudden, you move back 1 pick. If you're Jacksonville, you can move back just 1 pick. Still get Graham, because if the Raiders or Bears trade for 5 pick, they're getting Genty. And then get next year's first round out of it. If you're Oakland and you're dead set on Genty, would you trade next year's first round pick to move up 1?
Oh, that's such a tough thing for a brand new head coach to do. Because, I mean, Ben Johnson has to sign off of it, but I believe the Bears still have Ryan Poles as their GM, right? Like, they didn't replace Ryan Poles.
As far as I'm aware, Ryan Poles is the guy, yeah.
Yeah. So,
my
it's not a new GM.
A Bears fan would have celebrated Ryan Poles' firing had he been fired yet.
Yeah, I think a lot of Bears fans are upset with Ryan Poles, but I think he's done a good enough job. I mean, outside of their quarterback situation, which I guess is what everyone cares about.
I think Ryan Poles' best move as a GM was hiring Ben Johnson. Outside of that, I don't think Caleb Williams is a bad pick by any means, but just doing that is not enough to save your job. Ben Johnson needs to do well.
Yeah, Ben Johnson... If they didn't get Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles' head would be on a stake. I feel like a lot of the Bears fans that I talked to felt that way, for sure.
No, 100%.
Yeah, I think that the Jaguars could trade. I think that the Houston Texans could trade, and I do think that if we're talking 3 most likely teams to make a trade, Detroit will trade up. I am now convinced. I was sitting in the library today, or in the Barnes and Noble. And I was just like, they're going to trade. It's going to happen. I was talking to somebody at the coffee shop too, and they're like, who do you think they're going to go? And I was like, I don't know. I think they're going to trade up and get somebody.
So as we're starting our mock draft tonight, let's talk about trades. Are we doing trades in this mock?
I think we should. I mean, the rumors have happened. Do you want to go ahead and do a scenario where the Bears trade up?
So I want to go pick by pick and see what offers are, because in the simulation you can listen to offers,
Sure.
and then I think we should entertain the idea of realistic offers.
Fair. Here's an alternate solution. Since we just talked about how it's a unique situation where we get to select every team's first round selection, we do that, no trades. And then we do a second one where we do trades, and then we move on to our individual drafts. What do you think about that?
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think that'd be really fun.
Cool. Well, seeing as it's 7:15, we're going to go ahead and get started with our full first round draft where we control all 32 teams. And this is basically the consensus of the hosts of That's DPI, what they think the draft is going to look like if there happened to be no trades. So, starting the mock draft, the Tennessee Titans are on the clock with the first overall selection, and the draft has begun.
So let's look at DraftKings real quick. We
those of you
mentioned
who haven't watched
in our
our
last
episode
that the odds of Cam Ward going number 1 overall are minus 20,000. And if you are not big into gambling, that means that you would have to bet and risk $20,000 on Cam Ward going number 1 overall in order to earn only $100 in profit.
Yeah, absurd, truly.
And for additional context, the next best pick is them selecting Abdul Carter at plus 3,500. Meaning if you bet $100, and you're correct, you will earn $3,500.
So to our 3 concurrent viewers,
So
based on
Cam
that
Ward,
information,
right?
who we were probably going to hit the Cam Ward button here, right?
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
let's get it over with. So this is
I don't think there's much talk about that one. Cam Ward is number 1 overall tomorrow night.
I don't think that this next pick is minus 20,000 though. I do think that there's a chance the Browns go Abdul Carter. However, almost every mock that I've seen puts Travis Hunter as the selection here. I'm curious, do you agree with those mocks? Because I tend to.
I agree with the mocks, and so does DraftKings. I've got a lot of the DraftKings on here right now. For pick number 2, Travis Hunter. The odds of Travis Hunter going pick number 2 is minus 1,100. So you have to risk $1,100 to earn 100 in profit. The next closest is again Abdul Carter, but it's plus 650. So if you
Gotcha.
bet $100 and you get it right, you'll earn $650 in profit. So
Gotcha.
the DraftKings absolutely heavily thinks it's going to be Travis Hunter, and I agree with them, but it is not near the odds as the number 1 pick was. But I agree. I think it's Travis Hunter. Almost every expert is predicting that, and I think there's a reason for it.
And I agree. That's why I'm going to hit the draft button here on Travis Hunter. And then this one to me is extremely obvious as well. We don't even need to read the odds. Abdul Carter is going to the Giants. If you watch back our content, I actually called this a couple of weeks ago, back when it wasn't as popular to say this, Tyler. So credit where credit is due to me.
And looking at the odds, I agree it's Abdul Carter, but looking at the odds, Abdul Carter is number 1 at minus 800 odds. The next pick is Travis Hunter. So and I imagine that if Travis Hunter is off the board, we do see a maybe 2,000, 20,000 odds for Abdul Carter at pick 3 if Hunter's off the board.
But regardless, these 3 are the first 3 picks, no matter what order they're selected in. I think that there's no way that any of them falls outside of the top 3. So, like you said in 2 weeks ago in our AFC East breakdown, this is where the draft truly begins. Because now it's actually up in the air. Who do you think they'll select? I'm still in the camp that they'll go Will Campbell, although a lot of Patriots fans would love this guy, Tet McMillan. But I do believe
they would. So I think they'd love Tet McMillan if it wasn't the 4th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
DraftKings tells you a lot about what people are expecting. Tet McMillan is, according to DraftKings, the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11th best pick Tet McMillan being drafted at number 4 overall is the 11th most popular pick.
Gotcha. And I think that
So,
he has genuinely fallen a lot in just the last week. I'm seeing the dude
yeah,
mocked in the 20s,
he has.
which is
I think
crazy.
I personally mocked him in the 20s as well.
I still mocked him, I believe, in the top 10. I have him going at 8 to Carolina because look at it. I mean, their need is wide receiver. How can you not select this guy? But I do
Yeah.
believe, and sticking with the conventional wisdom here, Will Campbell is probably the selection at 4, right? Wouldn't you say?
I just want to throw one idea out. Currently, that says their need is a running back. Do they draft Genty?
No. Nope. No chance. No chance that New England. I don't think that there's a chance that New England spends a top 5 pick on a skill player ever because it's New England.
Okay.
So I'm gonna snag Will
I
Campbell here
agree. I agree with you. I wanted to entertain that idea though.
because I'm
And now we're not doing
oh
trades this round, but
right.
I do think this is where we can and probably will see our first trade. And I think it's going to be depending on if Las Vegas or Chicago offers Jacksonville the better deal. The better
Interestingly
deal.
enough, when you look at teams interested in pick 5, which I don't know how Pro Football Focus chooses this, the Bears are not on my list of teams interested. So just something
Interesting.
to consider. But
Yeah, I do wonder
Jacksonville
how they do that.
has a huge need at interior defensive lineman. Mason Graham is the top ranked interior defensive lineman. Although they are now showing Walter Nolan up here at 7, you wonder if with Mason Graham falling, he becomes someone they trade back for and snag. But I do think that Mason Graham goes here regardless. New regime down there in Jacksonville. You got to make the slam dunk pick.
That's
And
fair, but can we compare Walter Nolan just real quick?
sure. So in 2024, Graham had a 91 PFF grade with a 13.8 pass rush win rate, and he was a phenomenal run defender as well. Okay. Walter Nolan,
Hmm.
less pass rush win rate, about 3%. Also a phenomenal run defender and an 88 overall grade. Nolan is 6'3", 305. Graham is 6'3", 320. And Graham is 21, and Nolan is 21 as well. So they're both fairly young, big, and highly rated prospects. It makes a lot of sense. This is the deepest defensive tackle class I have ever personally witnessed.
Yeah.
And so either one of these guys could have probably been a top 10 pick if they were, DT1 in their own draft, but they just happen to be together. And I do think that
Yeah.
Mason Graham is slightly better. I mean, back-to-back seasons with a 90 grade. The dude's been
Yeah,
consistent.
that's
You look
phenomenal.
at this.
I do think the most realistic thing is them actually trading back and then still getting Graham. So
Gotcha.
I'm comfortable selecting Mason Graham for this.
Gotcha.
And I think pick 6 needs even less of an explanation. It's Genty. That's
Yeah.
gonna be
I mean,
the
look at
Raiders are gonna
those.
take the entire time to actually select that pick just because that entire time they're gonna be on the phone with Ashton Genty.
I know there was a lot of Heisman buzz about Genty, but if you haven't taken the chance to actually look at what statistics he put up in 14 games last year, 2,600 yards and 29 touchdowns.
And
Some
this isn't
people,
even
I think,
in
forget.
half the time. Half the
Yeah,
time he's coming out and halfway through the third quarter just because they're up so much.
yeah. And then this elusive rating. I'm not sure what a good elusive rating is. Like I've seen it. I've seen guys with like 150s and 160s. This 216 is absurd. A 96 rushing grade. It makes a lot of sense to pick him here. I was watching
Oh,
some of his
absolutely.
Penn State film, and he even did well against Penn State, I would say, and that's a top 5 team in the country. Now here's where it gets
Absolutely.
interesting. This is actually our first disagreement of the night. We
Yes, it
agree on the
is.
first on the top 6 picks, but we're gonna have to come to our senses and work out our differences here for the pick 7 for the New York Jets.
Yep, this is where the debates are happening. And for the audience, we have not really debated specific picks. Like we've talked about the possibilities for each team this last month, but we have never done a mock draft together. So this is going to be genuine, unscripted, unprepared debates for the rest of this draft. So I selected tight end Tyler Warren. That's my prediction for the Jets. You had a tackle, am I correct?
I had this tackle, the next best on the
Okay.
board. By the way, shout out Colin and Kristen in the chat. Gotta love our concurrent viewers. Appreciate you guys joining the live stream. We are on pick 7. Feel free to drop who you think the Jets are going to take, because it's going to be a heated debate. Tyler and I disagree, and you know that can go on for about 5 hours. So I think that it has to be a tackle. He's higher on the draft board. I think that it's a new regime, a disciple of Dan Campbell. Do you really think he's going to go tight end in the top 7 when there's a lot of talented guys in the later rounds of the draft that you could snag at tight end, like Harold Fannin out of Bowling Green?
And honestly, I'm thinking about who they brought in at quarterback. They brought in Justin Fields at quarterback. Am I correct?
Correct.
Justin Fields, and I'm making your case here. Justin Fields was sacked so much in Chicago that if I'm Justin Fields, I am screaming at the Jets organization, protect me. I agree, Membu here.
Okay. That didn't take as much convincing.
Me, honestly. If Membu is somehow off the board, hypothetically, let's pretend Jacksonville takes Membu, and then Ashton Jeanty goes 6. Then I think they go Tyler Warren. I love Membu. Membu is the guy I think is going to be the best tackle coming out of this draft, way better than Will Campbell. But
411 pass block snaps, no sacks, no hits, and 8 hurries. Can
we compare that number to Will Campbell real quick?
We can indeed. 2 sacks, but he had more snaps. 11 hurries, 5 hits, 2 sacks. So Membu
still massive numbers,
right.
Massively good numbers,
fantastic. But SEC, but they both play in the SEC, both same competition. No sacks, no hits, only 8 hurries. Membu's got to be the choice here.
And on that, we've already selected, we've agreed. Can we see Missouri's schedule last year real quick?
Yeah, let's take a
look.
look.
Go back to Membu. Or here, just go back to Membu.
Yeah. It's on the side.
Yeah. So we're looking at Alabama, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, who had an up here last year, especially in the first half of that season, Oklahoma. And we're looking at no sacks from Membu.
Yeah. And look at the guys that are coming out of these schools. Nick Scourton and Shamar Stewart both play edge rusher at Texas A&M. You've got Landon Jackson, who I know you're not as hot on, comes from Arkansas, and these coincidentally are his lowest grades, and these are probably where these 8 hurries come from, but he still didn't allow them to hit the quarterback once all season.
No hits, no sacks is nuts with that schedule.
Yeah.
Part of that's why I think Membu is going to be the best tackle in the draft, but right now Carolina's on the clock. I predicted them going... I gotta look. I can't remember off the top of my head, if I'm being honest. I had Carolina going Jahad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama.
He takes quite a leap there.
You had them going
Tet McMillan out of Arizona.
You had them going Tet McMillan. I don't think it's going to be McMillan. We've talked about McMillan falling. I don't think McMillan is going to go at 8 overall, but it would be very Carolina-y to do that. But I don't think it's going to be McMillan.
Especially since they just selected a first-round wide receiver last year, right?
Is this where I want to throw the name Walter Nolan out there again?
This very well could be where he goes. Let's take a look at Carolina, and we're getting some Missouri hate in the chat. Trust me, chat, we agree. We do not want to prop up Missouri any more than we have to. But Membu played a great season. Who am I looking at? I've already forgot. Carolina.
Walter Nolan.
No, I'm looking at Carolina and see who they have at those spots. Yeah, I mean, they did just sign Tershawn Wharton, though, so that's what kind of turns me off. I mean, you know how valuable this guy can be.
Who's the best edge available in our draft so far still?
Right now, the top ranked edge is Mike Green. I don't think that he goes top 10.
I don't
But
think so either, but if they want edge, they can.
he's a complete
And
stud. He had
I don't
17
think Pat
sacks.
McMillan's going 8. But he has had 2 straight years of 90 Pro Football Focus grades.
Yeah, Green is a stud. He does have those character concerns that required him to transfer away from a couple of or one school.
He does, but if you're Carolina, I'm not saying do you care, but like Carolina's got to figure something out. Are they willing to take that risk despite his character concerns?
Right. And you look at their linebacking core, they could use some guys up here.
So edge or linebacker is really what I think it's going down to with Carolina.
But here's my problem with them selecting Mike Green. A PFF says he's a starting caliber outside linebacker, and a 3-4 front. What front is this?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so that's Mike Green, right?
Yeah, that's Mike Green. Let's take a look.
No Mike Green.
I think Jahad Campbell wasn't a horrible selection. Mike or Sam in 4-3 schemes, and that they really need. It would be crazy to take a off-ball linebacker this high, but Jahad Campbell's one of those dudes where he looks incredible.
I agree with that.
Do you want to go ahead and pull the trigger on Campbell, even with Barron here? They need a defensive back or even Nolan to pair with Tershawn Wharton.
I don't think Nolan's going to be the move because you're right. They did just sign a interior D lineman. It doesn't say interior D line is a need. I'll let you pull the trigger between Campbell or Barron.
Okay.
But I don't think go Campbell McMillan's going.
Because you went with my pick in Membu. We're going to go with your pick in Campbell. I'm really high on Jihad Campbell.
Okay.
Or Jihad Campbell. And now we're at the New Orleans Saints.
Let's talk about Sanders real quick. I don't think either of us think they're going to take Shedeur Sanders.
Where's he at?
But that's, of course, the name that a lot of experts are throwing with the possibility of going to downtown New Orleans.
Even though nobody attended his birthday party this past year, you think he could go here?
Nobody attended his birthday party this year. But
to quote Andrea from the chat, Colorado Hate Club.
And I agree. I think Shedeur Sanders is very overrated. I think it's nuts that they retired his jersey in Colorado.
Stupid.
Same thing with Hunter also. Like, Hunter's a great player, don't get me wrong. I think it's nuts that they retired his jersey, though. But
can I offer one simple rebuttal to why I don't think that he will be going at 9?
I mean, you're going to be preaching to the choir, but go for it.
See what I'm circling? He's got great grades until you pressure him. He's got a 65. Yeah. Saints don't have the O-line to sustain a guy like Sanders. Sanders can succeed in the right environment. This would be setting him up to crash and burn. So, in my opinion...
I agree. So then, who do they go with?
Let's take a look at their lineup. Tackle? I think they could. They could select Banks. I know it's been a popular joke on Twitter to just mock Banks to everybody in the top 10. But once again, look at their interior D-line situation. This could be a phenomenal spot for Walter Nolan to go.
Ooh, that is. This is actually where I had Membu falling.
Yeah.
I had him falling to
And that's fair because Trevor Penning stinky. But, I mean, Juwan Johnson's okay. They have some decent receivers.
I saw the 60 PFF grades for those tackles, and I'm like, oh, they need a tackle. And then I see that 36 PFF grade. It's Nolan.
Brian Bursey did not play well, and he's a former first-round pick. I think you have to go Nolan if you're the New Orleans Saints here.
It's got to be Nolan, which takes us to Chicago. I do think if they're out on Genty,
Green is BPA.
I was like, Cole Kmet's not a bad tight for him.
Cole Kmet's been solid.
Yeah, Cole Kmet's not.
Oh, God.
They're not going to take Tyler Warren.
Yeah,
and it looks like they've improved their offensive line tremendously this offseason.
This is incredible.
I'm not sure if they necessarily go tackle.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they would be reaching for a really good guard. But Jonah Jackson, they just signed to a ridiculous contract.
Yeah, and for guard, they can go get Booker in the second round, I think.
Mm-hmm. Could this be a sneaky spot? Because they do have Swift, but Hampton is falling big time. He's like way down
No,
here.
I don't think they're going to go get Hampton.
Could this be a sneaky spot where they're like, screw it, we can't get Genty anymore, we're going McMillan? Or do you still think they'll go rotational edge rusher to improve that pass rush?
Here, go back to those grades. So their
Because
receivers outside of Moore absolutely need to be improved. But so do those edges. So we're looking at McMillan versus Mike Green. I know that's not the typical front that Mike Green would play.
yeah, it is another 4-3.
But he's an edge nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean he's still 6'4", 250, so that's at least rotational edge rusher or a third down specialist. I don't know if you want to spend pick 10 on a third down rotational edge rusher. That doesn't really fit your scheme, but you could. He's really talented.
Yeah. I think it does come down to one of those guys, though. I think that they could very easily go up and trade for Genty, but if they don't and they are staying at 10, heck, they could even trade down again.
Sure.
Which would not surprise me one bit at all. But in this first one where we are doing no trades,
I think
it might be McMillan.
I think it boils down to me is who the head coach is and what he does best. What did Ben Johnson do in Detroit? He ran the offense. Boom. I mean, this may be unpopular, but if he's there, they can get running back later. I mean, we talked about that there's more quality guys later on in the draft. They're not in as grim of a position with Swift as, many make it out to be. Swift is not horrible. And they improved their O-line so much.
Scadaboo in the second round, though.
Good thing you pronounced his name correctly today.
Yeah, I
Skitiboo.
I do think they're gonna go get him. Skibidoo
or
God,
whatever.
that was such a blunder. That was probably worse than when I mispronounced the Eagles GM's last name.
I mean, with how many viewers we have from Philadelphia, we knew the comments were inevitable. Yeah. Who's Howie Grossman, Tyler? Who's Howie Grossman?
We have researched so many names that I even, if you go back to our last episode, at one point I even said Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and you corrected yourself on that one, though. I
corrected myself immediately, but that's just the epitome of how many names we've researched and just how many sounds just get jumbled up and you say random syllables.
Okay, San Francisco.
We're out of the top 10 now.
We're outside.
Going on to San Fran. They need defense, right?
They need everything. They lost most of their contributors last year. They do need defense, though. They lost both starting safeties, which could be a hint as to what they're doing here. They don't necessarily have a good interior D lineman situation. Really, D lineman situation.
Given that they lost both safeties, is this where Malachi Starks goes?
I could see it.
Too early. Malachi Starks, he's my favorite safety in the draft for sure.
I agree.
I think he's so young. Be the first safety off the board.
But do you think he goes here? They don't even have safety as their top need. It seems like they have decent depth at that position with Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa. He's a rookie.
That's fair. What does PFF say that their specific needs are?
Guard, tackle, and D-line. I mean, Green is right here. But once again, it's another 4-3. But Green is right there. But I have seen, and they also have corner because they just lost Charvarius Ward. So this could be where Barron goes. Those are my two. It's one of these two.
Figure out where the best fit for Mike Green's going to be, because he's a guy that I really haven't covered much personally this month.
I think it's right here.
You think he's going to go with that?
Atlanta.
Early teens?
Mm-hmm. I think he goes to Atlanta.
That, actually. Okay.
I've seen that a fair amount.
So then you've got Barron going to San Fran then?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. And for me, I don't know what your thoughts are on Dallas. I have not wavered Omarion Hampton to Dallas. I have not wavered that one bit.
Tyler, we've received a chat that says terrible with an exclamation point. Are you referring to our mock draft to this point?
Is that from a Cowboys fan?
It could be. I don't know. Brandon, what's terrible? What are we looking at here? If you're still watching, if you haven't already clicked off because we're terrible. But here, Dallas, they need a playmaker. What are you thinking?
So if we don't go with Hampton,
sure,
then I agree that they got to go offense.
But I think Burden would be a reach.
I think it is. What's the tackle situation look like for the available tackles right now? I don't think they go tackle. I think it'd be a massive reach to go tackle at 12. But I just want to see is
Simmons
the
or
best
Banks?
tackle available? Simmons or Banks? I wouldn't be surprised if they go Banks, but I think Banks is the only. I don't think they would go Simmons. I think that's a massive reach to go Simmons at 12.
But tackle's not even in their top
Banks
needs.
is possible. Yeah, but at the same time, though, they also have lost offensive linemen this year.
This is true.
And I can see them needing to replace it with
yeah, they do.
With having to pay Dak and
first round
him and
pick on Guyton, but man, he has not been good.
And look at that left tackle. Yeah, Guyton, it's 49. I mean, I think they go tackle second round personally. I think they go get a stud playmaker in this round. So just offensively, what's the best offensive player available right now? Can we do that?
It's clearly Tyler Warren.
I don't think they're going to go Tyler Warren though. After Warren,
it's Egbuka or Burden are the top receivers. I could see, man, but I have Egbuka going a lot later than this.
I do too.
Could they reach on a running back?
It would be very Jerry Jones-esque to go reach on Hampton.
Let's do it then. I think that
and just call. And Jerry Jones is going to say some comment that we're like, yeah, we were looking between trading up for Genty or Hampton, but we really like Hampton. We got confidence in him. That'd be very Jerry Jones-esque.
And I agree, and that's why I've made the selection. He's their top need. We've mocked him here all draft season. So
and we're gonna double down.
We're doubling
again.
We're at this point we're quadrupling down because we've said this so many times.
But when it happens, though, we can bookmark this. We predicted it the entire time.
I will be leaving the room to clip this on Twitter if that actually happens. But now where we are to Miami and they need offensive line help, they could be the one to reach on Banks. I think it makes way too much sense.
Did Brandon ever say what he was specifically saying was terrible?
No, he just left.
He's like terrible and then gone.
It's like, this is awful. I'm out of here. This is horrible.
Which if anyone does have any comments on who they think they should go, if we're talking about a team and you think
we're
that
clearly getting it wrong,
a specific player, like leave a comment. Absolutely leave a comment. Let us know who you think different teams should go with, who your favorite player is. Let us know. Let us know.
We've already done all this crap. It's on our YouTube channel. We're doing this so that we can have your guys' input, figure out who the guys are going to be. We've collected some detailed, precise, and informed individuals here, so we're going to take a look with everybody. But pick 13, what are you looking at here, Tyler? Offensive line?
See, originally this is where I had that Texas corner going. But obviously we have him leaving, so Will Johnson is definitely a good idea. Interior D-line, I don't think there's any. I think we've picked all of the top half interior D-line.
Jesus.
Yeah, I like Will Johnson.
I can see it. Going defense early. There's been a lot more defense than there was last draft. I mean, the first defenseman wasn't picked until 14 of last draft, and we've already probably done half the players. So let's do it, Will Johnson. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Any other lineman would be a reach. Once again, we're doing a no-trade draft, so I think that Will Johnson's a slight reach, but either way, I think he fits in Miami. And this is where we both were pretty confident that Colston Loveland would go. But look at who's still
But with Tyler
available.
Warren on the board still,
He's still here.
can
Should we?
we do a quick comparison between Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland real quick? I
We
don't think it's going to
can.
be much of a comparison, but just for
Not
that.
91 overall, 93 receiving grade, only 3 drops on 135 targets, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 100 catches. So
Do we have a blocking grade real quick?
a blocking grade, we can.
I don't think he was much of a
Run
blocker.
block
I see
grade,
that. Yeah.
52.
And so when it's pass, he just goes out on a route, of
Yeah,
course. That's why he doesn't have a pass block grade. So
sure. So
and then
when we
what's
look
Loveland?
when we look at Loveland's stats, just be aware of what offense Loveland played in last year. Michigan's offense, it was pretty putrid and run heavy. So pretty similar run block grade, similar receiving grade, but the offensive grade, the overall grade is much lower. And he only had 82 targets.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Loveland at the end of the day is a better tight end.
But you
But right
can't
now,
justify drafting
on
him over
Thursday,
Warren.
April 24th, 2025 in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I don't know how you can draft Loveland over Warren.
I agree.
But I do like tight end for Indianapolis. I think that's going to be a great fit for Indianapolis. Their quarterback situation is not exactly gunslingers. I'd be shocked if the Colts don't go tight end. They could go defense. They could very well go defense. But if they go offense, they have to go tight end.
I agree. So we'll go ahead and throw Warren there. And now we've discussed
Mike Green with Atlanta earlier.
It makes too much sense. It makes too much sense.
It does. Falcons fans are worried about Kyle Pitts not panning out. And so some Falcons fans that I've talked to have said they could go wide receiver or tight end on here. Luther Burden was the name that was dropped when I was talking to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, behind Drake London, it's
fear
Darnell
with
Mooney
Kyle
and
Pitts
Ray
not being the offensive
McLeod.
weapon.
I still think that you have to go edge rusher in a draft that's so. The Atlanta Falcons have never had a good pass rush, so to go edge rusher here makes a lot of sense. It shores up the weakest part of their team, and if you can have a good pass rush in the NFC South, you might win the whole dang thing. So I think you have to go Mike Green here, especially with Darnell Mooney being your 2 isn't the worst situation to be in. He had a pretty solid season last year.
It's not, and there are a lot of receivers. They can go get another really good receiver in the second or third round and make that a perfect slot receiver. So I agree with you, Mike Green to the Falcons.
Makes too much sense.
It makes sense that they're drafting a character issue guy in their first round.
But, and so now we're at your, I believe this is your second favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals.
The Cardinals are my second favorite team because of how much I love their stadium. I think the Arizona Cardinals stadium is so much fun. There's so many things to do around the stadium during pregame, and I don't think people recognize it enough. There's a good tailgating scene. It's no Kansas City by any means with tailgating, but they've got a good tailgating scene. They've got the big lawn on one of the sides of the stadiums, which is where there's a lot of family-friendly atmospheres. They've got a nice bar and lounge outside the stadium as well, so you can have a drink, relax, watch there is something for everyone at that Cardinal Stadium. And I went right in the middle of Kyler Murray's what was looking like his possible MVP season. And I just had such a fun time in Arizona that they are my second favorite team. And I still kind of follow Arizona Cardinals Discord. So what they really wanted was Banks. They absolutely want an offensive line. The Discord that I have seen on Arizona for Arizona Cardinals is that they want Banks.
So should we slam Banks? Because I'm in agreement with that. I think we mocked that.
Is he the best tackle available outside of possibly Simmons?
Yes. It's him and Banks. Okay, let's slam Banks. I agree because he could also
falling for Banks.
He could also kick inside the guard, which they desperately need as well.
Exactly.
So I like that. Bengals, they need interior line and edge rusher bad.
Mm-hmm.
I
actually mocked the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Starks just because he fell so far.
Mm-hmm.
I
Let's
don't know
look.
if safety is not a desperate need in Cincinnati, but given that Starks, number 8 on Pro Football Focus's draft board, did fall this far back, it would not surprise me.
Good grief. I mean, how
But
can you
yeah,
go into the
that
season
interior
looking like
edge.
that?
Well, Brown's grade, I didn't realize Brown's grade was that low,
Orlando Brown has
actually.
fallen off a cliff, Tyler.
Wow.
Same with Amarius. I mean, Amarius Mims is a first round selection,
But
so he has time. But Orlando
yeah,
Brown, there's no excuse for the
I don't
veteran.
think they go Simmons though.
Really, I think he's
I don't think they go
rising.
Simmons.
So at this point, it's O line or I guess the D line. Yeah, because their D line
What's their linebacker? What about linebacker?
linebacker's fine. They've got Jermaine Pratt, who didn't have the best season last
Yeah,
year, but Logan
that's
Wilson
fair. They do
did,
have Pratt.
and it seems that Burks did very, very well for them. So I think the linebacker's pretty well shored up. And Yoshi Voss, this wide receiver, there's a lot of buzz around
I
him. So I
mean,
don't think they go.
no, they're not going to go wide receiver. They just paid so much money for 2 wide receivers. They're
So
not going.
to me, it's between these two guys that sit at 17 and 18 respectively, Zeke Rockwoo or Josh Simmons. And I think
I would
that
go Izzy Crockwell. I
I
just don't think
agree.
Simmons is a top 20 pick.
It,
I think he's a
with
first round pick, and I think he's going to be a good first round pick. But I don't think he's a top 20 pick.
I just saw some serious lightning outside of my house. I hope I don't lose power.
Yeah, it's storming here. I was a little bit worried about that as well about an hour ago.
I don't know if you can hear it on my mic, but we're gonna slam Zeke Rockwoo, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna open my window.
So, as we are going into Seattle, I know Zach's not here, so I'm talking to you, audience here. As we're going into Seattle, that Zach's back. All right, I'm done talking to the audience. So now Zach's back. I'm talking to Zach too now. As we are going to Seattle, there has been a lot of changes this offseason. They've gotten rid of wide receivers. They've added wide receivers. They've gotten a new quarterback. So if you are the new quarterback in Seattle and you're being trusted with some decision making, what are you doing?
Well, can you roll into the season with JSN, Marquez Valdez Scantling, and Cooper Kupp as your top 3? Maybe because you have you have to address this.
Well, and Cooper Kupp is, I think he's a great receiver as long as he's healthy.
Yeah. But when you have 2 guards ranked in the bottom 5,
JSN I think is very good as well. I mean, I think it's wild to put Scantling as wide receiver 1 on that list.
Well, it's not. He's just the X wide receiver.
And then though, I would switch some stuff around. He is not my X receiver, that's for sure.
But I think that when you have 2 of the worst ranked guards, no. When you have 2 of the worst ranked guards in football, you cannot afford a luxury pick in getting another skill position. Fair. So I think that they go the top ranked interior O lineman available. That's currently Tyler Booker. They could also go Gray Zabel, who's been a guy mocked to go inside due to his just play style. He's a 5'2" offensive lineman. So to me, it's between Booker or Zabel. I'm going to let you flip the coin.
Can you show me Booker's stats in first look? Can you go to that?
Yeah, let's look at that. Didn't have the best year this year, but he's 6'5", 330. Powerful, well-built, competitive, high IQ are words used to describe him.
What's his grades look like?
Not good. Not as good as some of the other prospects we've looked at.
Yeah, and I know he's in the SEC, but even then, though, I mean, you're about to go in the NFL. I know Zabel is playing in the FCS.
Sure.
But even then, though, like I just think he's a better guy. But is he a tackle though?
He's been talked about as someone moving to guard quite a bit. He could play tackle in a pinch. His lack of length will kick him inside. So he's listed as a tackle, but he's going to play guard in the NFL. if all things
Okay. I
pan out.
I like Zabel personally.
I agree.
If we're gonna reach at an interior offensive line, I would go Zabel. Um,
Oh, come on.
19.
How is it falling right here? Come on.
See, and
They've
this
got
is
to
where I
go.
see Philadelphia jumping in, moving up in front of some other teams and going to get Starks. I would not be shocked at all. The Eagles have so many draft picks this year. This is if we were to go in a trade draft, Philadelphia's trading here and they're going to get Starks.
Weirdly enough, no teams have interest in this pick with Stark still on the board. I agree. We're gonna,
Interesting.
but if so, I think they would trade with Seattle or something because I think Gray's able could end up falling here. I still think
That's
Malachi
fair.
Starks is going to go to the Bucks because they have a need at safety. If you look at Tampa Bay's roster, um, not necessarily a need, but I think it would be a really nice to have when you have Winfield and Starks across the way. Winfield has a bad grade, but you can't trust that. The dude is a bona fide stud. He was playing injured last year.
Yeah, I mean,
And
trust me, I'm well aware of how good Winfield can be.
so I think Starks and Winfield Jr. on the same defense is exactly what they need in Tampa.
I agree.
And so we're going to move on to Denver. This is where a lot of people have Hampton going, but we have done that. So what does Denver do
I mean,
instead?
if I'm not mistaken, I mocked Burden going here.
Yeah, and I don't hate that at all. I
Burden's
mean,
tall, he's fast, he's light. He's gonna make Bo
he's
Nix's
only
defense
5'11",
so
but
good next year.
he's
Yeah,
only 5'11", but he is phenomenal, and he's going to succeed at any spot that you put him um, slot, anything like that. So I agree with
yeah.
slamming Burden
I
here at
think
20.
yeah, I'd slam Burden here too. I think him and that Ohio State stud are really the two options, but I do think that if Burden falls this far, you got to go Burden.
Hmm.
Is this where Sanders goes now?
I
21 to Pittsburgh.
I saw something the other day that kind of rehashed how the Pickett selection looked, where they selected him in the 20s, and he's now on the Cleveland Browns, and obviously has not panned out. 3 teams in 3 years. But are they really going to select Shadur Sanders here?
Let me see the quarterbacks. Because let's say they wait until second round to go get their quarterback. Well, we've seen good quarterbacks come out of later rounds. Jalen Hurts was a third rounder, if I'm not mistaken. So you can clearly get good quarterbacks in later rounds. So who are like the top three quarterbacks available? Well, Sanders, Milrow, Howard, and Leonard with 4.
And Dart.
Jackson Dart at 5. If you're the Steelers and you want to go get a quarterback this draft, are you willing to take some of those other guys and risk losing Sanders?
Probably not, honestly. The drop off from Sanders to the rest of these guys is fairly steep. I mean, if they wanted to draft Jalen Milrow, they would have just kept Justin Fields. It's the same prospect as he's just less refined as a passer. Howard
Yeah.
doesn't have NFL level decision making to me, and
No, not at
at this
all.
point, we're starting to talk about fringe backups. Once you get past Jalen Milrow, so I think if they're going to address
So
quarterback, they need to get Sanders.
if you're not willing to risk losing Sanders and then to get Milrow in the second, I think they have to go Sanders here then.
Agreed. Slamming it. And now we're getting to another AFC West.
Either that or tank for Manning next year or
Yeah,
in a couple years.
So, and that's fair. Do you think that they now, with the option to select tight end Colston Loveland, now that he's fallen, do you think that the Chargers will make that choice, or do you think they want to go Emeka Egbuka?
What's the Chargers offense currently looking like?
Yeah, let's take a
Because they're
look.
another team that's had some shakeups in the last year and
They have changed it up
this offseason and last year.
They have changed it up. They have a new running back in Najee Harris. They signed Tyler Conklin, who did not have the best season last year and really never has. And
Is
they
Conklin
have
their best tight end?
We can look at their roster at tight end, and we can see that Tucker Fisk, Will Dissly, and Tyler Conklin. So Dissly didn't have a horrible season last year.
Didn't. What year is Fisley?
Dissly, Will Dissly.
My apologies.
Disley's fairly young. I think he's well, actually, not really. I mean, he's been in the league.
They don't have a tight end. Yeah, tight end's definitely a need. I think their wide receivers are salvageable.
Mike
They haven't been.
Williams,
I mean, Mike Williams hasn't been great,
Quentin
but
Johnston.
I also Quinton Johnson was not good. Don't get me wrong. He had a lot of drops, but he can be salvageable. I mean,
He did have a much better
I'm not
year
saying
last year.
I'm not saying Quentin Johnson is Jamar Chase by any means. But Jamar Chase in the preseason of his rookie year looked really bad. He figured it out by week 1. Quentin Johnson was just a rookie. He's still a very young guy.
Well, yeah,
I think he's still got plenty of time to
still is
figure it out.
year 3, so I agree. So are you
I
thinking
wouldn't call
then
him a.
Loveland then? I mean, the next place
I
I
would
could
say
see
Loveland.
Loveland.
I think a lot of good wide receivers still. I don't think there's a lot of good tight ends. I think if they pass on the Ohio State standout, there are other decent wide receivers in this draft. If you
And
pass on Loveland, I don't think there's a lot of decent. I mean, look at the big board. The third best tight end is 59 on the big board compared to 16.
yeah, and he's a Michigan guy, Tyler. He's a Harbaugh recruit.
100%.
Slam it. I agree.
Loveland to the Chargers.
All right, now who are we looking at for Green Bay? Because man, they're in a
So
tough spot.
the one thing I want to point out is the draft is in Green Bay.
This is true.
So I do think, as much as GMs say, nah, the hometown, it's not really a factor. It's a factor. The Chiefs drafted a local guy for their pick. They reached on Felix. I'm a K-Stater. I love Felix, but they reached on Felix for the home crowd. Other teams have definitely done that. There is an aspect of the home crowd. So, given that they're Wisconsin, I don't think an Ohio State guy is necessarily their home crowd necessarily, but they're going to want to try and make a splash in this
To me,
first round.
there's 3 options: Egbuka, Pierce, and Golden. Address wide receiver because I mean, Dobbs, Watson, and Reed. There's not really a standout there.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce addresses their needed edge, and then Golden addresses their needed wide receiver. It's just a matter of who they value more. Golden,
Let's compare Golden and Egbuka real quick, because
okay,
I think
Golden,
that's the splash.
yeah, Golden, 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, had a decent receiving grade, 75. You know, I think his best game.
Egbuka?
Yeah, I think his best game was against Arizona in the college football playoff. And then Egbuka, higher receiving grade. This guy's been mocked as a first rounder ever since he was a freshman. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Like this guy's play style, think of it as an Amon-Ra St. Brown type guy.
I'm going Egbuka.
Okay.
They're going to make a splash. There's going to be so many memes about the Packers never drafting a wide receiver in the first round until Rodgers leaves. They're going to draft Egbuka.
And to me,
defense is not a home run splash for the crowd. Egbuka is.
Fair. To me, Minnesota has one selection here. They have not had a lot of success in the interior defensive line, and Kenneth Grant from Michigan has fallen right into their lap.
Oh, 100%.
They need a running back, I guess. They did just bring back Aaron Jones, but there's not a running back draftable here, and they do need a DB. But I think Grant being right here on the big board and filling one of their needs makes a lot of sense. So,
who theoretically is the best DB on the board still?
right now it's Trey Amos. He's a corner.
I think he'll be available in the second round for him.
Yeah, I don't worry about Amos going in the first. So we're gonna go with Kenneth Grant here to get to Houston.
O-line, I see Simmons going.
Easy. We don't even have to talk about it. Simmons.
Yep.
158 pass block snaps. Obviously torn patella, shortened his season, but only 1 hurry in those snaps. Dude has the potential to be a franchise left tackle. We have modern medicine. We can heal the guy. Come on, let's be for real here. And now we're at LA. They also need a tackle.
3 years off of a Super Bowl run. What are they going to do to try and get back to that Super Bowl?
They also could use a corner, and guys like when we covered the NFC and the Rams, that was about 3 weeks ago. We had guys like Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky going here, but he has since fallen off the big board. Do we want to look at corner and just see Amos, Morrison, Hairston? I
I
had
mean,
Revel much higher than this.
at this point in the draft, big board doesn't really matter
Fair.
as much. So now that we're actually going pick for pick, so I don't want to say Trey Amos immediately after saying Minnesota will get him in the second round, but I do think Hairston can come in. Benjamin Morrison, those are two guys that I'm really surprised began falling. I think Trey Amos has been very fairly graded at like 28 on the big board, give or take a few spots. I have no clue why Maxwell Hairston and Benjamin Morrison have fallen.
Yeah, Revel is falling solely because he plays at ECU and is dealing with a torn ACL in his third game of the season. He's 6'3". He's a lengthy
Yeah, and I do think he'll
corner.
fall out of the first round because of that. You don't know how the injury is going to be. But Hairston and Morrison, I really like one of those picks. I
Okay,
think both of those guys are people that didn't have the best 2024, but they've had glimpses of being really good in the past. And I think Sean McVay is a good enough coach to look at their potential, not just what they did the previous year.
yeah. To me, I think that I'm gonna go with my gut and say Hairston. Do you
Go
agree?
for it. Go for it.
Because
Yep.
we've
One of
mocked
those
him
two guys
before.
is who one of those guys is who I want.
Yeah. Now we're at Baltimore.
Baltimore,
People,
I think defense is gonna be the thing that always seems to kill them. Very similar to Buffalo. Their offense is not the problem. I think they're gonna try and find that missing piece on defense.
yeah, they have been in itching for an edge rusher, but do you want maybe to take advantage of your last year with the number one ranked PFF running back and running quarterback and draft an offensive lineman? Because their seventh round, they were starting their seventh round selection in week 18 last year. I think
But
that was
but are we going with I mean, I
Falele.
mean, how many offensive linemen have we drafted in this first round? Because there's 7 rounds, keep in mind. And I just think going offensive line in the first round, because at this point, an offensive line in the first round is going to be a reach.
Yeah, this is true. But when your top need, according to PFF, is guard, unless you want to prioritize edge in a very deep class, which they could.
But I mean, for me, if edge is one of their needs, I'm looking at that Tennessee Volunteer right there.
You think James Pierce is the choice here?
I think so. I think the offensive line are massive reaches for who's on the board right now. You can go get those guys in the second. You can go get those same guys in the second round.
Hmm. Okay, so
You're not gonna get you're not gonna get Pierce in the second round.
I like Pierce. I agree with you. I think you don't let a guy like that
Yep.
slip out of the first round.
Yep.
We're at my team.
I'm not gonna say anything about Detroit. This is on you. You know way more about the Lions than I do.
I have wrestled with this pick over the last couple of days, but I am going to go with the selection that I told my barista at the coffee shop this morning. Josh, shout out to you. We're going to go Nick Squirton here out of A&M. We're going to go. He has a nasty spin move, and the one player in the NFL that I think has a nastier spin move than him is Aiden Hutchinson. So pairing them together makes a whole lot of sense. You want to put a guy in a place where he's going to develop, and Squirton is that guy. I would not be shocked if his name is called. With a 17 pass rush win rate and a good character. But now we're at Washington. I have
This
no
is
idea.
another one where I think they could
We
very
mocked
easily
them
go
to go a corner.
defense.
We mocked them to go a corner early on in the year.
Okay.
Which, yeah, because right now they're dealing with Marshawn Lattimore. And Mike,
He's salvageable, but they're Washington is looking for the missing piece right now. They believe that Daniels is their guy, which I do too. So Do you want to go Golden? I know wide receiver's not exactly their need,
No, because they just
but
traded for
he's
Debo.
a
They have McLaurin. I don't like that. I
that's
don't like.
fair.
I don't like that. I just feel like there's better players. I mean, at this point, we could see Amos going,
Hood. I don't think
or
they're gonna go running back. I don't like going guard here.
I mean, they have a
They
huge
could
needed
go guard,
interior
but I
D
don't like going
lineman.
guard here.
But look at their interior D lineman. This is very easily where they could go Omar Norman Lott. I mean, I know that's someone you've mocked to Kansas City, but there's also Derek Harmon, who's someone who's got first round. His average draft position's up in the 32s.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Derek Harmon going here, in my opinion.
Think
I've seen
Darren
him.
Harmon over the other two?
Yeah, I mean, only because he's received more first round buzz. And look at that pass rusher and win rate on the interior, 17.6.
Okay. I want
Norman
to know
Lott's
why he's
higher.
fallen on the big board then. That's
Yeah,
my
I don't
only
know.
question.
I don't know either.
Because if he's 42 on the big board, this is a second round pick. Is a steal a second round pick, sure. But 40 on the big board, 40s on the big board is not a first round pick to me.
But at this point, we have to be looking at their needs. And right now, they're saying guard, edge, and corner. So we could just select Amos here.
I think I
Although,
like Amos better than Harmon for a first round pick.
okay, so let's go. We could go Revel here, or no.
Nah, I think with him having that injury this last year, he'll definitely be drafted, but I think he's gonna fall a lot
Mm-hmm.
because of that injury. Despite
Gotcha.
how good he is, I think he's gonna fall a lot.
I think the Bills are in an interesting spot. Jalen Walker makes a lot of sense because Bills need edge and linebacker, and Walker can kind of play both. He can rush the passer a little bit. Um, he's a 3-4 outside backer, so he has that rush passer ability. I don't know
Hmm.
what scheme the Bills run. That would be
Are
nice
they?
to.
But they also brought in Bosa for a year, so they could bring in Walker to be kind of like a replacement to learn under Bosa and then take over because Bosa's only on a 1 year deal.
Sure. And they also run a 4-3 at that point. But look at their linebackers. Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, they didn't have, and Balin Spector, they didn't have the best years. So taking a linebacker makes a lot of sense. He is the highest ranked linebacker, and I don't see a ton of backers.
Yeah, I like Jalen Walker here. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Demetrius Knight, I mean, there's a huge gap there. So I think we have to select Jalen Walker. Now we're here at Kansas City. I'm fine with going with what
Hmm.
you predicted in the episode.
So with this pick, there is a question of do we draft Golden because he is a good player. We've really struggled to get that deep ball going. I think there's going to be a lot of fans on Twitter saying, "Go get Golden. It's going to be great. Teammates with Worthy." I don't think that's how Brett Veach operates, and I say that as a compliment to Brett Veach. I think Brett Veach is going to really know what we need. So for me, the question is either Shamar Stewart or Norman Lott, the Tennessee Volunteer, Omar Norman Lott. I would go Norman Lott.
Okay.
Brett Veach is gonna that's a pick that is gonna make fans be like, why in the world did we draft him? To me, it's very George Karlaftis-y, right? Of why did we get that guy? Sure, that was in need, but why did we go get that guy? Now, years later, George Karlaftis is part of the reason we won back to back against San Francisco. He's a heck of a player. We need an interior D lineman.
This guy
I
could end
love
up being the replacement to Chris Jones as well.
Yeah, replacement to Chris Jones in the immediate relief against Mike Pennell. I I love him. He's a fan favorite, but he's not that great of a player. Um, I mean, for me, yeah, it's I like Omar Norman Lott. He's a bit of a reach at 31 compared to say pick 40, 45. We're not going to draft him at pick 40, 45. We've got pick 31. And I think interior D line is our biggest need, especially with Chris Jones only probably having a couple more years left wearing red. And I think that's just going to be our best pick for the long-term success of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree. I like this. I looked into it after our last episode, and I think it's a really solid selection. Now, this is where I think Golden has to go. It's either Golden or Stewart.
Either Golden or Stewart's what I was going to say. The reason that I like Stewart over Golden is because when you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles have done to gain success, it is murder offensive lines.
Pass
If
rush,
you
pass rush,
murder an
pass rush.
offensive if you're gonna win it all. If you murder an offensive line and take care of business on offense, you can do whatever you want at any given stage. And that's exactly what the Eagles have done. Despite that edge is not near as big of a need.
They did lose a couple of their
as other
contributors at that
positions.
spot. Yeah.
They did. They lost a lot of defensive players. They are going to need to stack back up on defense.
Well, they picked
and
up Aziz
that's kind of the
Ojulari.
game in Philly.
Yeah, they picked up Aziz Ojulari, so I don't hate that. I think I am going to go Stewart for them because he's a first-round guy. I think there's a lot of receivers that you could select in the second or third round that could fit that Eagles role.
Yep.
And here's our official mock draft.
That's the mock draft. That is our official mock draft. That is a no trades draft. I do think there's going to be a lot of trades within this. But
yeah, and given that we are already at an hour 16, we'll probably just jump into our team draft.
I agree. Do you want to go first?
Oh, we'll do it
you
together.
Guys are... Oh, that's right. Okay.
We'll do it together. Lions and Chiefs.
You're right, because I forget that you can do multiple teams with multiple round. Yep.
And so now we really have to just iron down these settings. Do you want to value more PFF board or public board? I think something like that is fine.
I like PFF personally. PFF's been a big one that I look at for my research. So that's going to be what I'm going to be focusing more on when I scout and research players. So I'd like to stick with PFF.
Okay. And I want to bump up this care for positional value a little bit more and bump up this needs a little bit more. And I'm going to bump down. Yeah. I'll keep the randomness where it's at. Do you like those settings there?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's jump in.
I'd say no trades necessarily. If we're drafting Philly, yeah, we can do trades because we're definitely gonna do some trades. Philly definitely will, but for us, I think each of our teams have a respectable number of draft picks.
Yeah, I have 7.
Fair.
Yeah.
I love the randomness on. I love the randomness on the board there because I think it had Cam Ward going 4th overall just now.
Yeah, which is strange.
Which is nuts. But
yeah, it has Cam Ward now going to the Jets. Interesting.
That's nuts. Okay.
All right, Hampton goes to the Texans. Detroit is on the clock. Nick Scourton is still there. I did just mock him to go. He's top 4 on the big board. I think he fills our biggest need. I'm still going to pick him.
Chiefs, given that Pierce is on the board,
that could change it.
I really like that, honestly. I'm sticking with the Tennessee Volunteers, but given that Pierce is on the board, I'm actually going Pierce here.
All right. So now moving on to our second round picks. I'm at 60. You're at 63. Ooh. What is he still doing here? 90 grade. I love Darius Alexander's game.
Oh.
Man, he is such a stud. He was... The reason why interior is a need is because star defensive tackle, pass rusher, Aleem McNeil will not be ready until December. So we don't have a starter there until the playoffs. And the guys behind him are not very good. I mean, we could look at Kyle Williams because a wide receiver is something that I think we're going to target. Both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have said they want to get younger at wide receiver in their in their press conferences, but I think if Darius Alexander falls, there's no way Brad Holmes doesn't pull that trigger. Sorry, Tyler. I know that you probably would have selected him if I didn't.
So we got our edge. It says we need guard, tackle, and defensive end. Can I see what Can I see what the best tackles look like right now?
Yeah. Not good.
I can see. I'm not a fan of those guys right now at 63. Is that a center? What's Ozzy look like? Let me see his numbers.
80 pass block. So definitely a better pass blocker.
Brett Veach has not had a lot of success with first or second round tackles. Wanya Morris was, I think, a second round guy. Yeah, he was the latest early round offensive line that he selected, and I don't like that. So let me see. So what does D line look like? I know we just drafted an edge, but what does D line look like?
Yeah,
And then I also want to see running back.
Interior and edge. There's Josiah Stewart here. Jack Sawyer from Ohio State is someone who was getting mocked in the first round early on. Jordan Birch is someone that I've seen as a very...
Sawyer's an edge, though, right? We just drafted an edge.
That's fair. He's more of a linebacker, honestly.
What's the running back situation look like? Because I've seen some people mocking the Chiefs to go running back early for some odd reason.
Caleb Johnson is the highest rated running back currently.
Okay. All right, let me see what the overall is now. A lot of these guys, I've done so much research on those. Is he just the best player available too?
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, give me Johnson.
Caleb Johnson.
A lot of people have been mocking the Chiefs to go that. And so now...
You actually have an early third rounder from Tennessee.
Right.
This is from
so now
Hopkins.
I want to go back to defense.
This is the Snead, I believe, actually. Yeah. Back to defense?
Yeah, I want to go back to defense now.
Which kind of defense?
Give me interior D-line or tackle.
Okay.
See, and I'm leaning forward because I'm trying to see the screen a little bit more. No, tackle, not edge.
Okay. Interior is
That's what I was gonna
tackle.
No,
offensive
no,
tackle.
but you had offensive tackle. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I'm looking for interior D-line or tackle. Honestly, yeah, give me Ozzy this time.
Ozzy? Okay.
Yeah, give me Ozzy.
6'8". Not too shabby.
I like that. I'm a lot more comfortable, even though it's like 5 picks later.
You're more comfortable him being a third rounder.
Yeah. See, and actually, I wish I had waited on running back and then just gotten Giddens now. Yeah, but we're not going to do that again. So this is now
your fourth selection. This is your
still.
Yeah. This is your third round pick.
Do we have a wide receiver? Do we have a nice wide receiver available?
Torrey Holton. I really like him.
112. Let me see that.
6'3", 185.
He's enough. I'm actually surprised he's still available right now. Yeah, give me Holton.
I shouldn't have pointed him out. He's who I was going to get at 102.
You pointed him out because I was thinking he would have been gone by then.
Yeah. Okay. So who have I selected? I have selected Scourton, and so I've 2 defensive guys. I still do think that I need a guard. I know that he's listed as a tackle. Let's see who interior is available. Oh, Dylan Fairchild is here, but that would be such a reach. I think I can get him later on. So are there other wide receivers that I would want to select? I know that we need an X wide receiver. So the Lions, I know, are going to get younger at wide receiver at some point in this draft. I just don't know who they would go. Perhaps Pat Bryant. Not an athlete, lacks top tier athletic qualities, but a rotational X wide receiver. So, as I just said, this could be a guy the Lions end up taking here. But once again, I think it would be a reach. He's 58th on the big board. So I don't know if I like doing that right at this point. Perhaps the best option would be selecting a tackle like Charles Grant, who does have really good grades, who could be a contributor. But in reality, I'm going to go safety. RJ Mickens. Lost to Fetu Melifonwu. We have no depth. It cost us in the divisional round. You need a depth safety. And so now I'm back on the clock with wide receiver as the top need. And Pat Bryant's still there. I'm going to make the selection at Pat Bryant and give it.
There. Bond was still there too from Texas. That would have been a good pick for you guys.
No, he's not a scheme fit. He's 5'11". We don't.
Fair. Can I see? Might be a scheme fit for the Chiefs. Can I see what I've already selected so far?
Yes.
So what? Edge, halfback, tackle, wide receiver. I think we're going defense again. Can I see secondary?
Yeah, safety and corner.
Yeah, because I think we're going to start going for depth. We're currently pick 133. We're very much going on with those guys. What's Jalen Reed look like? Because I've seen a couple mocks of Jalen Reed going to Kansas City. I think that could be cool.
Good run D.
Yeah, really good run D. Had a better year in 2023 than he did last year. Didn't have a great year last year, actually. What about those other guys real quick? That's right around Reed.
Oh, Wally or Whaley.
Hasn't been too bad. He's a corner.
Yes.
Very standard corner. Okay, and then what about the third guy that's around Reed?
That is another safety. Ohio State. Hancock. Better coverage guy, but had a lower missed tackle rate than your other dude.
Go back to that main big board again.
Yeah, the main big board of everybody.
Big board. No. Just stay where it was.
Okay.
The last guy I want to look at is Robert, right there from Rutgers. I want to look at him real quick.
Longer beam.
He doesn't impress me too much. There's nothing that stands out there, especially with him being lower on the big board. Give me that corner. Give me the corner we've had.
From Minnesota?
Yeah.
You want draft
give
him?
Me Wally. Yeah, give me Wally.
Okay. I like that pick for you guys. I think that's exactly where Veach...
safety is technically going to be better, but I think just the way we draft safeties, we're going to need to start preparing. We're going to need to start preparing for a post-Trip McDuffie world.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the 6th round now.
We are indeed. We've skipped a round. Valuable depth, outside zone. Not a great pass protector. Jake Majors, he's a center. Don't think I want to draft a center right now. This guy impresses me enough. 6'6". But doesn't have a lot of strength. I think that at this point, you got to go with a guy that can run block and fit in the Lions culture. Connor Colby has some technique problems, and the Lions have the best O-line coach in the NFL. So he's got the tools, just needs the development. That's a guy you pick in the 6th round to me, and now you're on the clock.
I like that. What's my tackles look like? I know we've drafted a tackle a little bit, but
offensive tackle.
See what the offense and tackle and guard. Let me see that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Sacramento State. I bet his grades are stellar. Yeah, pretty good here.
Yeah, they are.
Just because he's a small stool guy.
We need to go him right now. Okay, let me see. Let me see defensive back again.
Yeah, that is a big need. Corner and safety. You guys are always stacking them too. Caleb Ransaw just sounds like a chief that sits in the back.
really does, honestly.
He had a much
Oh,
better
yeah, I'm seeing the
2023.
K-State on there. He's one of the he's one of those K-State killers. He almost killed us in week 2 this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a safety, you said?
Yes.
Give me Ransaw.
Bigger, stronger nickel defender. Yep.
Yep, give me him.
Okay, so now I've already drafted a
Hmm.
safety. I've drafted a wideout. I've drafted interior and edge and guard. So I've hit all the needs. Now I just need to be looking for BPA. I love Dean Clark. I've done research on Dean Clark. I think he'd be really solid. Difference making NFL explosiveness. Lacks that, but he is experienced and versatile. Who can be valuable depth. So we're gonna go with Dean Clark. I've done a lot of research on him. And then who is next? Is it me again? It looks like I'm on the clock. Yes, I am. Okay. I know that you
And
have
I'm
2
up.
more picks after this. Yeah, for
Yeah.
you. At this point,
Chiefs have Mr. Irrelevant this year, I think.
I think you guys do.
I remember seeing something about that.
Kari Franklin. We need another wide receiver. But do I really want to pick someone like that? Efton Chisholm the third. No. Actually, let's
That does sound
go.
like a guy that would be drafted by you guys, though.
This is what sold me. Tight end who's a nasty downhill blocker. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a Dan Campbell guy, and that's my last selection actually of the entire draft. So you have
All right,
pick
I've
151
got 2 more.
and Mr.
I'm gonna
Irrelevant.
go offense and defense here. Show me offensive lineman, defensive lineman, and secondary. And I'm kind of going BPA for that one.
Okay.
Okay. We're at 251. Best player available is 253. I'll be honest, at this point in the draft, none of these names really mean anything to me.
No, yeah. Do you just want to look at like some quick descriptions, little first looks?
Yeah, I want to look at this guy, and then I want to look at the tackle that's right below him. I'm just gonna see which I think fits better. 6'3", 290, defensive interior. Doesn't have any grades.
He's a pass rush specialist.
Okay, that could be good for us.
He does
Let me
have
see what that
grades.
tackle looks like. Oh, he does have grades. Honestly, not bad grades. I actually kind of like that. Let me see what that tackle right below him looks like.
Also not bad.
Pretty solid grades.
Only
yeah.
1 sack allowed on 473 pass blocking snaps. I mean, it's just like Veach to select a guy like this.
Honest, a 7th round guy out of give me Pierce.
Okay, there's no and that do you still want Barrow? He's here.
Let me see what let me take a look at Luke
Luke
Lackey
Lockley.
real quick.
Lackey.
I'm not a fan of that guy. Chiefs have
He's
so many
just
tight ends anyway. I just want to see what that guy looks like. No, I don't like that guy.
Ollie Gordon is always here for you.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyone that wants to draft Ollie Gordon, run away from Ollie Gordon. I have never seen Ollie Gordon played K-State at home this year. I was in row 2 behind the visitors bench when Ollie Gordon was there early in the season. I have never seen any athlete, let alone a superstar athlete, get so rattled by just a couple heckles than Ollie Gordon. That guy has no headspace. He has no ability to block out anything. Ollie Gordon will never be mocked by me.
Seems like the guy who was sitting next to you just got into the chat and chanted DUI, DUI, DUI.
Yeah,
James Cox
exactly.
is in the chat.
Oh my! Yeah, absolutely. He's exactly who I was with. He was there for that. I've never seen a superstar athlete get so rattled than Ollie Gordon. So yeah,
Dr-
for my Mr. Irrelevant, give me the Miami Hurricane.
Simeon Barrow Jr. Let's see
Welcome to
who
Chiefs
grades
Kingdom.
higher. Who grades higher, you or me at this point? Okay, so my overall grade is a B. My 2 first-round picks getting great grades, and then Connor Colby, a late-round guard, doing really well, but nothing
Okay.
nothing special. And then
Okay.
where is you? Oh, here you are. You
Where
also get
is
a B with your late round being phenomenal and James Pierce
yeah,
Jr. being a great pick, but they don't like Torrey
like
Horton
Horton though.
and they don't like the tackle or the corner that you selected. But C plus. I think Jahmyr Gibbs got like a D draft grade, so you're fine.
Honestly, yeah, I'll take that. Brett Veach never gets great draft grades. Brett Veach is always looking for the diamonds in the rough. He found that with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey at those guys. He found that with a couple other corners and safeties that we got later in rounds. So I'm fairly happy with that draft pick.
Yeah, I am currently being carried by my first round and my sixth round pick, or my first and second round. So
And I had a decent start and then good end.
yeah, most definitely.
So
But
Zach, before you
it,
get out of that, can you screenshot that somehow?
yes, I
You
can.
screenshot both of those, and then we can get those posted on Instagram as to our Chiefs and Lions mock drafts.
I will do just that. But before we do that, thank you everyone for joining our mock draft stream right at about 90 minutes. So we appreciate all of your input, all of your comments for our first stream. It was great fun to have you guys for our mock drafts, and we can't wait to react to all of the amazing first round picks tomorrow evening. Catch you guys for our draft recap episode the following week. Take care.
Appreciate you.